Hi everybody, this is Tom with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Pick Ems again because, well, the group stages are over and we are heading into the top 8. So let's look at my results for the group stage Pick Ems and compare them to some predictions of other people, and then obviously look at what my predictions are for the top 8 and give some thoughts on that as well. So first of all, my Pick Ems for groups. Let me get this image on the screen for you. There we go. Group A, perfect prediction. Can't say I'm unhappy with this. As I expected, G2 had a bit of time to warm up. I did not think they would have as much difficulty with the early game, though, which is a bit concerning heading into the top 8, but we'll get to that later. Suning looked definitely stronger than I expected. Machi performed about as well as I expected, I suppose, getting one win over Team Liquid, and then Team Liquid actually they surprised me by making almost a tiebreaker match with Suning, which was obviously in the end dependent on G2's result against Suning. But I have to say they came out a bit stronger, and I got a bit nervous for my prediction there. But overall, yeah, I mean, Group A went very well. Then Group B, as you can see, 4 points out of the 16 available points, which sucks. Like JD Gaming and Domon Gaming swapped around, and Rogue and PC Talent swapped around. It's just, you know, it feels extra bad when you just have those two mixed up. But I mean, Domon performed incredibly well. Above my expectation. I think JD Gaming definitely performed below my expectation, considering they were the most consistent team in the LPL all year long, reaching both finals of both splits, and taking Top Esports to 5 games in the summer split final. So they were, you know, when Top Esports is considered, if you consider Top Esports the best team in the world, then you should have considered JD Gaming at least second best team, considering their results. But yeah, Domon Gaming really stepped up. I think they are at least one of the tournament favorites going forward as well, if they weren't already heading into it. Rogue, I really obviously am disappointed with their results. They really crumbled on stage, much like how Mad Lions crumbled in the playing stage. I think this was just yeah, there's no excuse for it, right? There's reasons for it, and reasons are that the team hasn't played on a stage for a while. This is a debut world stage for the coach, for many of the players on Rogue. So, and you could see it, right? You could see that as soon as they started losing games, the morale went down, the team coordination went down, and PSG Talent, I have to say, was very impressed with the resilience that even when they were already eliminated, got a game of JD Gaming. So yeah, Group B, unfortunate my predictions weren't right, just swapped around, but it is what it is. Group C, thankfully I got the top 2 right, with Genji and Fnatic. Went all according to my prediction, I suppose. I did not expect Fnatic to come out week 1 as strongly as they did, but I did expect them to make it out. And then LGD, who I predicted to be 4th in the group, because this is a best of 1 format, and in the play-in stage, in the best of 1 format, they were almost eliminated and really struggled. But they showed that, you know, they've finally figured out how they want to play in best of 1s. And TSM, well, Group D, I guess you could say this group I entered the most based on my prediction, but that was because I was riding the Unicorns of Love hype train. No regrets there. From my perspective, I really was, I felt good about this team. I was aware, as I think I did say in my Group D prediction when I made the pick and predictions, that, you know, it's going to be tough for them to do. In the end, it seemed impossible for them to do. The disparity between their level and that of anybody else in the group was just too high. And they seem to be in this limbo where they're too good to be a playing team, I suppose. But not good enough at all for a group stage team, where they didn't really make any of the teams sweat. So that's unfortunate. DRX, who I put in 3rd place here, which was because I thought they would struggle with their drafts, and because they looked a bit shaky in the LPL and were really obliterated by Dom1 in the LCK finals. I have to say, I don't think they're a tournament favorite yet, but they're looking really strong. And, you know, they're playing against Damwon in the quarters. We'll get to that in a bit. But it's going to be tough for them. That's for sure. But I have to say, I was positively surprised by their performance. FlyQuest equally so. Similar to how PSG Talent and Team Liquid put up a fight even when it was difficult. I was really impressed by them taking a game of top esports, which is good for them. So yeah, now let's look at how that brings me to my standings. I think I can get that here for you. Oh yeah, so if you're not aware, you can compete directly against other people, and this is done by inviting links, and I made a little invite link as well where people, you know, my viewers and the people who follow me can just compare their prediction results, their points they gathered with me. And the lobby is stayed You Stay On My Mind for the LSE song of week 1 of the summer split that everybody still probably remembers. If you want to join, I think you still can. I'll put a link in the description below. So be sure to join, and well, as you can see, beat me, because so far it's not going too well. Of the 7 people in this group, I am at a shared 4th place, which is right in the middle of the pack in that sense. Lawrence is doing incredibly well, so shout out to you. Theo is also doing well. Kishwat, just a few points more than I did, and Hexorel has as many points as I did. OD Esquire trailing behind a bit, and Gabriel V1, if he wants to catch up, probably if you want to catch up, you probably need to have some predictions right in the knockout side. But I believe in you. You can still do it. Globally, let's see if I can get them here as well. There we go. Here is where I rank globally. As you can see, based on points tier thresholds, you get to a certain rank. And well, there are 7. Let's see. Oh, this is with, I have on my screen the wrong one. Just on the group stage performance, there are 701 people who still have 0 predictions right, which is incredibly impressive as well. I at the moment rank as a Crimson Raptor with 34 points needed for this. And as you can see, the thresholds go up from there. And there are still 3,050 people with perfect predictions so far. We're still in the race for that ultimate skin. And that's, you know, that's only 0.095% of the players. So that's a really, they've already narrowed it down greatly. I think I'm in the top 36 roughly percent of the players. So, I mean, it's ahead of the bell curve, right? It's right of the bell curve, but I obviously hope to do a bit better. We can still climb though. We can still climb to new thresholds and new points if we get perfect knockout stage predictions. So let's get to those then. Let me get them on the screen here for you. There we go. All right. So this is, yeah, there we go. The first quarterfinal is going to be Top Esports versus Fnatic. This is going to be a really difficult battle for Fnatic, obviously, because Top Esports has looked incredible. The only game they dropped against FlyQuest, well, shaky. You know, it wasn't clean, but in a double round robin where you play 6 games, best of 1, you're almost bound to drop at least 1 game. So I think cut them some slack there. Obviously, this is a very exciting matchup because Jackie Love, who formerly played on Invictus Gaming in 2018, reached the finals of Worlds with them and faced Fnatic there with Reckless in the bot lane. So Jackie Love and Fnatic, Jackie Love and Reckless are gonna have a little rematch there. But yeah, I'm not gonna spend too much time because like it's just Top Esports is really good. Like they're really good, and Fnatic has some momentum, which is good for the mindset. This is a team that struggled in the summer split when things weren't going so well, and it only had like a downward spiral a bit where they almost missed out on playoffs and worlds entirely. But yeah, I'm gonna give this to Top Esports pretty easily. Then Suning versus JD Gaming. This is the closest quarterfinals, I would say. If you look at the summer performances of these teams, you would say that JD Gaming is ahead together with Top Esports of all the other LPL teams. But looking at the shape these teams are in, I'm very impressed by Suning. They are very good at adapting. They are flexible with their drafts, and in their playstyle, it's not the cleanest, I will have to admit. But I think that they are in a better form in the tournament than JD Gaming is, because when I look at JD Gaming, I see that what worked for them so well in the LPL was their team play, and their team play has suffered a bit. Don't get me wrong, they're still really good. As I said, this is probably a 50-50 matchup, but based on group stage performances, I would have to give it to Suning, because I think they showed more resilience, and it felt like they were better in the tournament flow in that sense. They felt the meta better. They were able to read their opponents a bit better. So I think that's going to be an advantage for them heading into the best of 5 with JD Gaming, and I think they will win that. Then we go to Gen G versus G2 Esports. Probably the best possible match for G2 to get, because looking at all the at the number 1 seeds from each group, it's pretty easy to see that Gen G is, I guess, the weakest number 1 seed of all these teams. And yeah, I like G2. I don't know. They could flunk this. They definitely could, because they haven't looked clean at all. Their early game is really weak, and I think Gen G is a team that can punish that. As we saw in their game against TSM, they did throw massively, you know, in the end. But even when they were making minor mistakes, you could see Gen G trying to find advantages there. Now, what is interesting here is that it's a best of 5 format, which is a really big buff, I think, to G2 Esports, because this is a team that needs to feel out their opponent, and they have that space when they're in a best of 5 setting. They can find how their opponent wants to play, and they can like discover a more comfortable meta when playing against them directly. It's kind of like if you ever watch football or soccer, if you're from the US, when you see, for example, Lionel Messi play, in the first few minutes of the game, he will walk around. He won't be very active, but he's trying to find the dynamic of the game. And then he, like in the later stages of each match, he will dribble and make everybody feel like a fool, playing better than them. And I think it's a similar thing with G2, where they need to feel out their opponent a bit, but once they're there, they can really strike them down. And I think, based on this, that G2 will win against Gen G, because in the end, I think G2 has better individual players overall and will be able to use this to win. Then we get to Damwon versus DRX. Similarly to Top Esports versus Fnatic, I don't think this is going to be a very close best of 5. I think this might even be a 3-0 or a 3-1. You can always drop a game, I suppose, but yeah, Damwon has looked super clean in their team play. Each of their team members can carry a game and step up. Their drafting is on point. DRX, on the other hand, has had trouble with their drafts, and they sometimes have a poor understanding, well, relatively poor understanding from how to execute their compositions. So, you know, it's tough for them, of course, to face Damwon Gaming. They met them in the LCK Summer Split Finals. It was a 3-0 for Damwon Gaming there, and I don't know. It's gonna be exciting to see if they can do something against Damwon, but I honestly don't think so. I think Damwon is just simply too strong. Clear tournament, well, one of the tournament favorites in my opinion, and I think they will win this as well. Then we get to the semifinals, which well, let me scroll up a bit. Sorry, that's better. Top Esports versus Suning. Yeah, while I do think that based on tournament shape, you know, Suning versus JD Game was going to be a close match, I still think Top Esports is a clear favorite here against Suning, because they were just a step above. Similar to Damwon Gaming, maybe a bit of a spoiler already. And you look at all the players on Top Esports, you look at all the players on Suning, and there is just, you know, even if it's just like a 5% difference, like if you have that in every role, you have a clear advantage over your opponent. And I think Top Esports has that as well against Soorning, and I do expect Top Esports to win this match. Then we go to G2 versus Damwon, which is a rematch of 2019, if it happens, obviously, which is in and of itself very exciting. And obviously Damwon wants to take revenge on G2 for eliminating them last year. Now, as I said, I think Gen G was the perfect opponent for G2 Esports because they weren't as punishing of mistakes as any of the other teams will, but Damwon is. And obviously, I do hope, like based on like I cover the LEC mainly, so I do hope that G2 by this time is in their tournament flow completely. But then again, I look at the summer split, and in the summer split, I hope that by the summer split finals they would be in their full shape again, and then they weren't at the end of the summer split finals, and I hope they would be so when World started, and they were not when World started. So looking at it, I just think that the growth, the acceleration of G2 in this meta, in this season, has been too slow, with players falling behind and not being able to catch up in time enough. And I think that's going to be the same case against Damwon Gaming. It might be a 5-game series. Actually, I think it's going to be a 5-game series, but I do think that every victory that Damwon will get will be more dominant than any victory G2 will get. I think G2 is really going to have a tough time against Damwon Gaming because it's just a solid unit. And G2, you can see that all the bricks they built the roster with last year are obviously still there, and all the they still have the same feeling and the same approach to the game they had last year. You can feel their legacy, like still in their own gameplay, but it's just not on the same level as it was last year. So I think Damwon Gaming will win this. Then we get to the finals, the grand finals, Top Esports versus Damwon Gaming. And well, this is gonna be a really interesting series. And I before making this prediction, I was quite sure, but thinking about it, like now it's on my screen, I have to admit that this is gonna be an incredibly difficult finals to predict. You have Top Esports, who are just so much raw power in terms of their roster, and you have Damwon Gaming, who maybe have like a tiny bit less of power on their roster, but then as a team they play so incredibly well. I do think I will stick to what I thought at the start of by making this video. I think Damwon is gonna take it, but it's gonna be a super difficult prediction to make. And honestly, it all depends on how I see these teams play. Obviously, during the quarter and the semifinals, we see them play in best of 5, see how they perform there. But when you look at Damwon Gaming and you look at their LCK results, you can see that they have a clear plan for best of 5s as well. Top Esports, granted, they faced a tougher opponent in JD Gaming, and Damwon Gaming did in DRX. But I think the Damwon game is just going to have a small edge over Top Esports. I just hope it's going to be a very good series and finally live up to like a real finals hype, because in 2018 we obviously had a 3-0 win by Invictus Gaming, and in 2019 a 3-0 by FPX, which was just a bummer. It was really boring to watch, not exciting at all, not at all how I hoped the final would go. So yeah, those are my predictions. Let me know what your predictions are in the comment below. I'm always very curious to hear what you guys think about any of these teams and about my predictions as well. I already read some very passionate comments on my last Pick Em video. And again, if you want to compete against me and other viewers of this channel, click the link in the description below. I do think you can still join and compare the point results. If you do enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, and if you want to see more of the content I do, including interviews with Worlds, and they're going to be press conferences, I'm going to try to post them on my channel as well. Make sure to subscribe, and yeah, that really helps my channel as well. As usual, to close things off, stay tuned for more content.